Psychophysics views all matter, including the human body, as bioelectromagnetic matter that vibrates in waves with a specific oscillation frequency. The cosmos has certain forms of wave energy, and all living things have their own unique wave energies and key energy membranes. When their wave rhythms and key energy membranes have been damaged by the environment or by stress, the cells in our bodies send out a signal called disease. In particular, the human brain emits certain electromagnetic waves, called brain waves, according to a person's activity and relative circumstances. Brain waves are divided into gamma waves, beta waves, alpha waves, theta waves, and delta waves.
Dr. Michael Persinger, a psychologist and neuroscientist, did research on the effects of electromagnetic radiation on the brain for a Pentagon weapons project. He has worked in the field for 40 years and funded by the Navy and reportedly by the NSA as well. Dr. Persinger perfected a means to make experimental subjects feel that they had been abducted by aliens or had an encounter with angels or God through the use of a modified motorcycle helmet equipped with solenoids to send electromagnetic pulses through the frontal lobes of the brain. Quote, human experience of God can be generated by a process that has nothing to do with whether God exists or not. Dr. Persinger published the paper On the Possibility of Directly Accessing Every Human Brain by Electromagnetic Induction of Fundamental Algorithms, 1995. Quote, a process which is coupled to the narrow band of brain temperature could allow all normal human brains to be affected by a subharmonic whose frequency range at 10 Hz would vary only by 0.1 Hz. Random variations of noise within the matrices could potentially differentiate between individual brains. In other words, individuals could be identified by the specific characteristics of their brain output. He goes on further. Identification of these sequences could also allow direct access to the most complex neurocognitive processes associated with the self, human consciousness, and the aggregate of experimental representations, in other words, episodic memory, that define the individual within the brain. In other words, a person's memory, consciousness, and sense of self can be fully accessed and modified by electromagnetic means, especially a person's personality can be completely shaped, much like the research of Dr. Ewan Cameron, who sought to do so by more primitive means. Dr. Persinger says the brain processes can be circumvented by direct induction of this information within the brain. The basic premise is that the synthetic duplication of the neuroelectrical correlates generated by the sensors to an actual stimulus should produce identical experiences without the presence of that stimulus. What Dr. Persinger is saying is that virtually any mental state can be artificially injected into a human brain from an exterior source. The most frightening thing is that the means for doing this already exist in a fully operational form on a worldwide basis. Quote, "The power levels for these amplitudes are similar to those associated with the signals generated globally by radio and communication system. Within the last 2 decades, a potential has emerged which was improbable, but which is now marginally feasible. This potential is the technical capability to influence directly the major portion of the approximately 6 billion brains of the human species by generating neural information within a physical medium within which all members of the species are immersed." Unquote. Dr. Persinger's message, minus the jargon, is that the entire human race can be controlled through the use of electromagnetic influence piggybacked on television and radio networks or other technological means.
Effectively, all consciousness is due to electromagnetic patterns generated within the brain. What we do is imitate what the brain normally does and apply it experimentally.
Where are these thoughts coming from?
Those thoughts came from the Neuroscience Laboratory at Laurentian University in Sudbury, Ontario.
Mind control slaves were permitted any drug except marijuana. Why? It's an excellent question. The effects of marijuana on the brain are not conducive to mind control.
It doesn't mean you can't be traumatized and put under mind control. It just means it screws up the programming.
Because it actually opens neuron pathways in the brain. It expands thought. I'm not going to stand here and speak pro-marijuana because...
No, because somebody be putting it in my car and popping me for it.
But I am anti-marijuana because we see all these ads on TV and everything, and even Dole and Clinton in their campaigns are saying, what's it, Dole said, guns, violence, and marijuana, as if it's so violent, because it is not conducive to mind control. They want it off the streets more than they want their drugs, like cocaine, off the street. Marijuana is especially targeted. I don't promote the use of marijuana as a band-aid for mind control because, again, knowledge is our only defense against it.
Your mind control programming, your ultra mind control programming to reach the other side where you actually have some free thought, and thank God that marijuana helps us get that. It really does help you break programming. It helps you remember what's real and what has value.
Thank you.
part of the urine that comes out, you just let it go. So it doesn't taste so strong because the toxins are usually heavy. So they start underneath of the blood on the barrel.
The taste of urine is depending upon what you've had for dinner or your previous meal. If you've had a highly acidic meal, the urine is more salty and metallic. If you've had a vegetarian or primarily an alkaline diet, then the urine is almost neutral.
The better your diet, the better it tastes. The worse your diet, the worse it gets. When you take Coke, you drink Coke the day before, it will be terrible. So this is a good way of going into a healthy lifestyle because it really teaches you.
All over the world, throughout history, urine has been one of the most commonly used medicinals ever. In fact, probably more people have used urine than any other single substance in the history of the world for healing.
Ayurvedic medicine is the natural system of healing that evolved sometime around 3,500 years ago on the subcontinent of India. One of the earliest scriptures in the Indian tradition dealing with urine therapy was the Dharma Tantra. In this book, they refer to urine therapy as Shivambu. It has the name within it of Shiva, the god of destruction, making reference to the idea that urine therapy was seen as a tool for destroying and eradicating disease from the body.
Here you see Dharmantari. He's the father of Ayurveda. And he's holding in his hand a beautiful container. Okay? They said that this may be just to show us the fountain of health, that is the urine within ourselves.
Now you talk about urine therapy and people laugh. Well, I got a question. If you're going to laugh, what part of it are you laughing at? If you're going to say it doesn't work, what part are you going to say doesn't work? That urine shouldn't be used? That it's quackery? Well, then you should sue today every doctor giving Premarin because that's pregnant mare's urine. That's not even human urine. That's a horse's urine.